Would you like to hear a horror story? Then I ask you a few questions, and I'm warning you, the following are the trick questions. Do you know how many immediate family members, or rather should I say dozens of immediate family members, down with COVID-19 around me right now? Do you know what drugs we have available at our local pharmacies? Do you think I'm safe or I'm at war? What's the COVID-19 face to you? Like real human face. And my absolute favorite question. Do you know how long it takes for an ambulance to arrive once the emergency call is placed? Want to hear the answers? Then listen to my story, and I guarantee you, you haven't heard anything like this before. If we're just meeting, my name is Konstantin, and welcome to Letters to King, where living in today's Russia explained by the insider you can trust. This is late October, south of Russia, where we moved to from Moscow to be in quarantine once again. Why we moved down here, I explained in my previous video. You can watch it, the link is in upper corner right here. It's also an explanation of COVID-19 spread in Moscow in October. We've been in our second home in the south of Russia for 3 weeks now. I was hoping to find here a quiet refuge from the infections world around us. Little did I know that I was getting us right in the middle, into the very epicenter of the spread of COVID-19. It's nothing like a refuge. Actually, I've gotten us into the middle of the war. Once we arrived to Rostov, we immediately learned that our close family members, my wife's sister and her husband, were down with COVID-19. At first, they seemed to be okay, but a few days later, the girl started getting better, and the guy, her husband, started getting worse. He started having great difficulties with breathing. He was very tired, and at the end, he couldn't even stand up to go to a bathroom. So it was pretty clear that something needed to be done. They had gone to a private medical clinic and had an X-ray done to his lungs, 70% lung damage. Friends, that is serious, okay? All the doctors that we knew said he needed to get to the hospital as soon as he could. So my relatives called the ambulance to bring him to the hospital. At that time, it took about 3 days on average for an ambulance to come. I mean, usually an ambulance comes fast, 15 minutes, I don't know, half an hour. At first, I thought it was a joke. 3 days for an ambulance? But then I learned it wasn't. The doctors quietly advised us. They said, if you want to keep him alive, you must start administering medicine right now. So we found a doctor that we knew. He prescribed the medicine over the phone, and I was asked to go get the drugs. I am the go-getter in the family, so hey, it's not a problem, you know. It's such a simple task to go and get drugs. The main drugs administered during the coronavirus are blood thinners and antibiotics. So I went to a local pharmacy, asked for regular antibiotics and blood thinners. No big deal, right? Wrong. It was a big deal. There was nothing available at the pharmacy, and the pharmacist looked at me like I was absolutely insane. She was telling me like, I haven't seen this stuff in 3 weeks. We keep on placing the orders from the supplier, but they just don't bring us anything. I went to another pharmacy, and another, and everywhere I got the same result. No drugs. All sold out. When the next delivery? No one knew. Just insane. Usually in Russia, buying drugs is not a big deal. All drugs, any drug is always available. All you need to do is to have money, right? You go to a pharmacy, even some pharmacies never close. They stay open around the clock, and get it. You usually have everything, but not this time. We had been able to get the supply of the needed drugs for 2 days from our family and friends who had gotten over COVID-19. 2 days. My sister-in-law started administering the shots and RVs herself. She's an English teacher, she's not a medical professional. She had never done that before. Well, she had to learn real quick. On the second day, the guy was getting worse. It was absolutely clear that he needed to get to the hospital as soon as he could. So I went to their house, got him packed, and brought him to the designated COVID hospital. There, I saw a horror show. There was a line of 8 ambulances waiting for the patients inside to check into the hospital. Medical personnel was all stressed out, running around, screaming. People were trying to get into the hospital to check patients in, off, walking off the street, just like we were doing. There was chaos all around us. The doctors seemed dead tired, and the ambulance drivers were absolutely exhausted. I tried to enter the hospital, but I was screamed off. I explained that there's a patient dying waiting outside of the hospital. The administrator looked at me and he said, "You must be absolutely insane. We have dozens of people just like you walking in here every hour." She showed me an executive order from the Russian government stating that only patients that are brought by the ambulances are allowed to be admitted into the hospital. One of the ambulance drivers told me that his ambulance car was backed up with orders for 7 days. Meanwhile, my relative was slowly fading away right outside of the hospital. For the next 2 hours, I was dealing and wheeling, trying to get him inside and trying to check him in. I screamed, I begged, I threatened, I made offers, you name it. I tried every possible way to check him in. Meanwhile, I saw pretty scary stuff. I saw one person collapsing right next to me. She couldn't breathe and she just collapsed on the floor, and I think she died later. I've talked to at least 2 doctors wrapped around in white space suits right out of a sci-fi movie. I saw people coughing their guts out inside of the ambulances waiting in line to be checked into the hospital. To me, that was the real face of COVID-19. That's how the coronavirus looks like in real life. I've seen some pretty scary stuff in my life. I saw 2 people died right in front of me on separate occasions in car accidents. One in Maine in the USA, one in Russia. I've seen severe trauma on the slopes of a mountain. Long time ago, I was a snowboard instructor, but I had never seen anything like this before. That hospital scene, was a true horror show. By some strange miracle, I got my relative into the hospital. He received an immediate supply of oxygen, the needed drugs, the blood thinners, and the antibiotics, and he's still in a hospital, but he's checking out any day now. He's fine, he's recovered, he's going to live. I've been exposed to the coronavirus, direct exposure. I went right inside of the COVID hospital. Since then, quite a few people asked me if I was crazy. They said, "Why would you do anything like this?" Okay, well, if I had the chance, I would do it all over again. When you see a relative, a person close to you, a possibility of dying soon, that you do anything to help him. That's plain and simple. It's been 13 days since that horrible night, and I'm fine. I seem to be okay. So I either have it symptomless or I don't have it at all. 13 days later, the picture is quite different. Right now, I have 17 close immediate family relatives down with COVID-19. 17. One of them is in extremely serious conditions. He had thrombosis, blood clots, and they had to amputate his arm, right arm. They just cut it off by shoulder. So he lost his arm due to COVID-19 complications. Another relative I had just told you about, he's been in the hospital for 2 weeks. He has recovered, extremely serious condition at first. About 6 other relatives of mine are in medium condition, and the rest are taking coronavirus lightly. What can I say? It's a mess. It's a war. There are so many people sick around us right now. I'm really lost. There's no way I can protect myself or my family, my wife and kids, from getting infected. It's just the only way is to stay home and not to get outside at all, because it seems like at least 30% of the city of Rostov are down with COVID-19. That's not an official statistics, but that's what this is what the situation that I'm getting from around. Everyone is getting sick. It's like a wild brush fire running around everywhere. It's so bad. We don't have any drugs. At this point, today, late October, our emergencies are backed up for 10 days. Not a joke. If you call an emergency ambulance right now, then most likely they will come and take that in 10 days. And you know what? I can't really blame the doctors, because they're doing so much more of what expected of them. It's just we've been hit with this huge disease that is affecting so many people. Our medical system has been overloaded, double loaded, triple loaded, I don't know, like 15 times overloaded. There's just not enough drugs. The manufacturers can't produce drugs so fast. People use them up all the time. You know, there are so many people dying. Russian media is under total control. Yesterday there was an executive order affecting every single doctor in the nation. The doctors cannot speak publicly of the coronavirus anymore. If they do, they will face consequences. It's just the government doesn't want the truth to be out. Okay, they want to control the portions of the information that they get out into the world. It's so bad. It's like we've fallen apart. This is the update. I remember back in March, I was making videos, I was moving down to isolate ourselves from the rest of the world, and oh my God, such child's play comparing to what's going on right now, right here. And it's not just Rostov, it's not the south of Russia, it's everywhere. The entire country is on fire, including Moscow and St. Petersburg, two largest cities. It's bad. Oh, folks, I am giving you this information. I'm giving you the truth of what's going on with us right now, but please help me. Please share of what's going on with you, with your friends, relatives, and with your community. What's going on in your parts of the woods. Please write in the comments. That's the only true way how to get true information right now, because all the official media, not only Russian, but I think all official media in the world, can go down to the trash can. I don't trust them anymore. I want to hear from you what's going on. Please comment, please explain, please write. That's the only trusted source now. If you found this video interesting, please show me your appreciation by liking it and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any further updates about Russia and the coronavirus. And if you can, would you please repost this video so many other people see it too. Please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.